Hallo liebe Leute, willkommen wieder hier auf meinem Kanal. Heute wieder mit einer Gabriel Knight Folge. Wir haben ja die Nacht beendet und genau, wir haben hier eine Telefonbuchseite bekommen. Mit diesem Astronox. Die Nummer.
Looking at the series of crosses, Gabriel can't help but think they have a pattern and meaning he is not comprehending.
Ich würde mal sagen, wir schauen uns erstmal wieder um.
Like I haven't. Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you have messages for me?
Your pal Mosley called. He left a message that they are interrogating a suspect this morning, and you might want to be there.
Sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Zeitung müssen wir noch lesen.
Today's newspaper is on the counter. Times dated June 20th, 1993. Gabriel scans over an uninteresting front page. Under the cultural events section, there's a notice about a lecture on African religions. The lecture is at Tulane University. Gabriel's horoscope for the day. An evil eye is upon you. Change your course before it's too late.
Okay.
Lighten up.
Ich weiß nicht, ob wir gleich hinten hingehen sollen zum Telefonieren. Dreimal die 50177. Ich hätte wahrscheinlich auch benutzen können. Nicht das verleihen. Ja, ich glaube, das geht. Okay. 5, 0, 1, 7.
Hello.
Is this the Casino residence?
Yes. What can I do for you?
Do you or does anyone in your family patronize the Dixieland drugstore?
I'm a busy man. What are you selling?
Nothing.
Good. Goodbye.
Okay. Dann nehmen wir dreimal die 5, 0, 1.
Hi, Casino residence.
Hi. I was wondering if you could help me.
Yeah?
A woman in the Dixieland drugstore dropped her purse today, and the name Casino was inside it.
Dixieland drugstore? Never heard of it. Sorry.
Okay, dann nehmen wir die Kistennummer. 5, 0, 1, 2, 8.
Hello?
Hello, I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
Castro, be quiet. Who is this?
I'm a friend of the owner.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
Weil das war sie doch. Wir können ja noch dreimal die 5, 0, 1, 2, 3 probieren.
Casino residents, may I help you?
Hi, you've won a customer raffle at the Dixieland drugstore.
No soliciting, please.
Aber was ist das mit der A? Also
Yes?
Hello, I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
Hush, Castro. I told you, I don't know what you're talking about.
okay, also da kommen wir jetzt echt noch nicht weiter. Gut, wir wissen. Aber wir haben auf jeden Fall die Nummer. Ich weiß, welche es ist. Die mit den A dahinter. Hoffentlich merke ich mir das bis. Gut, dann gibt es hier erstmal nichts weiter zu tun.
I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
Also, wir sollen auf jeden Fall hier zur Polizei. Ich glaube, zur Polizei, ne?
A drummer has decided to set up outside the police station.
Darf der das?
Hey,
The drummer looks at Gabriel but says nothing in return.
Darf er da spielen?
can I bother you again, officer?
What is it this time?
What do you know about Marie Laveau?
Marie who? Is she the one that hangs out on Conti and Nash?
No. Never mind. I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
You! Give me back my badge! Now, Knight!
Sure. Thanks for letting me, borrow it.
Yeah? You borrow it again, and you're history. Now, about today. Glad you made it. It'll give you a feel for how I am in action. You know, handling suspects, that sort of thing.
I'm sure it'll be invigorating. Who is this guy, anyway?
Calls himself Crash. He's been an informant for us before, mostly helping us bust small-time pimps and dealers trying to break into the territory. He's been staying invisible during these murders, but we picked him up this morning at Jackson Square pushing coke. He knows something. Call it detective's instinct.
Detective's instinct. Got it.
All right, Crash. I want to hear about these murders. Have you been present at the so-called voodoo rituals?
I don't know nothing. All right, I told you.
Come on now. You can tell me. Do you know anyone who's been to these rituals?
Look, I can't say nothing. You gotta let me go.
Relax. No one knows you're here. The men who picked you up were in plain clothes.
Plain clothed. Like you could fool them. They know I'm here. They've got ears all over the city. They know everything.
Who are they, Crash? Are they the ones doing the murders?
Let me go.
If you're so worried about being detained, start talking. You tell me what I want to hear, and maybe I can get you into the witness protection program. But you gotta earn it.
Witness protection? Are you crazy? Oh, don't make me laugh. Oh, Jesus, just let me out of here.
Oh, come on. Who's behind these murders, Crash? Why are the victims all members of the underworld?
Oh, by now they know I'm here. It's different when I'm supposed to come here. Oh, if I can send a message. Yeah. Tell him I didn't say nothing.
Christ, he's freaking useless. Just take him back to detaining, would you, Tony? I'll tell you, times like this, I'd kill for truth serum. Damn civil rights.
Can I quote you on that?
Huh? Hell no. Damn, we can only keep him for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have to let him go. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. You know, for the book, I mean. Hey, maybe you could punch it up some. You know, what do they call that? Fiction. That's it.
It certainly is. I'll see what I can do. Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Is she that red-headed chick that works at Freddy's?
No.
Then I don't know her.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
Sure as hell ain't going well. There sure are a lot of brakes being applied in different areas of the investigation. We're getting some real info on the victims now, and they're not exactly upstanding citizens. I was hoping to get more out of Crash, but he's scared shitless. We'll have to let him go tomorrow morning.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
You're as filled in as me.
What's the status?
You're as
Have you ever caught...
I'd rather have no...
Da passiert nicht mehr viel. Hat ja irgendwie richtig gar nichts gebracht.
I'm gonna hit the road.
Ciao, baby.
Was bildet der?
A sign on the front door of Magenta's home reads,
Ja, wir wollten ja dieses Bild uns abholen, da können wir ja machen.
Madame Lorelei, the fortune teller, is garbed in a belly dancer's outfit and wears a boa around her neck. A real boa.
Come on, boys, hoopla!
The booth is a colorful melange. It announces the owner as Madame Lorelei and gives prices for palm readings, $20, crystal ball gazing, $15, and birth charts, $50. Madame Lorelei lounges at the booth,
Thanks,
fondling her
boys.
snake. Madame Lorelei seems less approachable when she's behind that booth.
Madame Lorelei, is it?
What can I do for you, handsome?
How's business?
How's business? I have no time for such dull conversation, darling.
How about a reading?
The prices are listed on the sign.
They seem a little steep.
Well, I sometimes do my intimate friends for nothing, but I am a businesswoman.
I'm sure you are.
Oh Mann, er und seine
That's a nice
Flöte da.
snake you have there.
Oh, I could say the same of you.
Well, I know where I got mine. Where'd you get yours?
That's personal.
I'd really like to know more about that snake.
Oh, sorry, sweetie, but I don't discuss Elvis with anyone.
Oh, nothing.
Well, then move aside, sweetie, but stay where I can look at you, okay?
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you.
Come
Man,
on, boys,
I have been
hoopla!
jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out for some reason. There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it. Here.
Wow. This is great.
Yeah, just don't, like, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Forget
Thanks,
it.
boys.
I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it, and, good luck.
The reconstructed Veve was done for Gabriel by a technical artist. The artist's reconstruction of the Voodoo Murder's pattern looks accurate to Gabriel. Something about it seems vaguely familiar and creepy. That doesn't work.
Thanks again for that pattern.
No problem.
Jetzt nicht. Ich werde das handhaben.
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Also es ist definitiv nicht dieselbe Schlange.
Could I ask you some more questions?
Of course. I also find our dialogue stimulating.
Does this pattern look familiar to you?
Where did you get that?
You do recognize it then?
I have never seen it before in my life.
Are you sure about this pattern?
I am sure, Mr. Knight.
Aber er nimmt sie aber sehr merkwürdig. Er sagt, oh, nehmen Sie das weg, wo haben Sie das? Und dann aber... Kann ich ihn noch vielleicht...
Perhaps Gabriel should learn more about the scale before showing it to anyone. Gabriel is carrying a scale.
Da keine Information zu. Können Fallstadion gehen. Geht, was wollten wir denn da?
It looks like the lecture is just starting.
Voodoo is the tribal religion of Africa, but the name Voodoo is actually a banner heading, under which resides an entire body of distinct tribal belief systems. The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems, voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism. All of these subcults of African voodoo have certain things in common. The most important is the worship of a pantheon of spirits, instead of the single deity that the Christian and Muslim systems have. Some of these spirits are elementals. Some relate to specific tasks or places. Some represent important tribal leaders who have died. This spirit worship is what makes voodoo so easily adaptable. With all these spirits, it's no problem to add a few more. Say, for example, the Virgin Mary. At the height of tribal Africa, warfare was common. One tribe would conquer another, and the Loa, important in the conqueror's tribal system, would be adopted readily into the conquered tribe's Loa pantheon. In this way, many of the voodoo cults spread and mingled throughout tribal Africa, enriching the belief system and causing innumerable offshoots. The basis for the voodoo religion seems to be as old as man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices: animal totems, sympathetic magic, elemental spirits in the trees, the heavens, the bodies of the sick. Africa is believed by many to be the cradle of the human race. Some of the voodoo Loa may be as old as the Garden of Eden itself. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating guy.
In voodoo, the spirits are called the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa. This is called being ridden. The human worshipper is seen as a horse, and the Loa as the divine horseman. A person being ridden by a Loa takes on the characteristics of that spirit and becomes, in effect, merely a vessel for the more powerful entity. Some of the older original Africa Loa include Dambala, the great serpent god, Ezuli, the mistress of love, Papa Nebo, or Gede, the lord of death, Awe, the spirit of water, Legba, spirit of the crossroads, and the cruelest and most dangerous, Ogun Badagri, the lord of destruction.
I gotta get more sleep at night.
Tribe-specific Loa can have as much or more power as the more widely worshipped Loa. For instance, a particular tribe might revere highly the Loa of an ancestor who was a legendary hunter or politician. Voodoo temples are called houndfors. Their priests, Houngan or Bokors, their priestesses, Mama Loa. In a voodoo houndfor, there's a ritual circle marked by a center pole called a Poto Meton. During ritual conclaves, initiates dance under the supervision of a Bokor and a Mama Loa, or head priestess. The use of totems, or animal masks and markings, was not uncommon in the original African ceremonies. Now, though, all but the oldest sects have abandoned this practice. Ritual objects used during the conclaves included the ritual gourd, or asan, the ritual knife, or kubasa.
That knife gives me the chills.
The ritual whip, or fouet cache, and the ritual coffin, or seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the Mama Loa for specific magical rituals. The Mama Loa is the most powerful figure in any Voodoo sect. Voodoo is a truly matriarchal system. Even the Bokor knows his power is limited. The Mama Loa is the supreme woman. She goes out of her house at night, sees many things, and tries to get butterflies, and at night again she sees other things, including fireflies.
Er ist eingeschlafen.
Firelight. Gabriel?
What? Can't see.
Gabriel, get in.
Can't. It's too small for me.
You must get in, Gabriel.
It's not mine. Too small.
Hide, Gabriel, hide.
No! Let me out! Help!
Young man, the lecture is over.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Okay.
The podium, Hartridge's throne. Gabriel isn't in the mood to give a lecture. Gabriel isn't in the mood. The door to Hartridge's office is locked. There's a PA speaker on the wall. Gabriel's in one of the lecture halls at Tulane University. A projection screen dominates the front of the hall. A lighted sign says exit. Dr. Hartridge is sharp-eyed and even sharper-tongued. When he condescends to look at Gabriel at all, it is with a dismissive glare.
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you've already interrupted and slept through my lecture, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
Okay, dann fragen wir mal.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treat voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
The Catholic Church has always dominated in New Orleans, and its imagery, in turn, has dominated New Orleans voodoo.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
If there's more you wish to know, perhaps you should read my books.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has been a sacred day since the earliest times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel? Huh. Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of voodoo somewhat interesting, from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true voodoo practices.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African voodoo religions.
Do you know anything about Veves?
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Tell me about Damballa.
Damballa is one of the major Rada Loa, also known as Damballa Wado. He is an ancient Dahomian rain god, often represented as a large boa constrictor. Damballa is the most powerful and most violent of the Rada Loa. The Rada Loa are typically benevolent, as opposed, say, to the Patrol Loa. He is still worshipped heavily in Haiti, and when voodoo first started in New Orleans, the early conclaves were reportedly based on the worship of the great zombie, the great serpent, Damballa.
Tell me more about Damballa.
I have extensive courses in the Loa running next semester. Perhaps you should take one of those, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about Ogun Badagri.
Ogun Badagri is one of the Patrol Loa. The Patrol Loa are much more violent than the Rada Loa. Some people believe the Patrol Loa originated in Haiti, but I have found some evidence that the Patrol Loa were African as well, though worshipped only by a small voodoo tribe, and a very bloody one.
Tell me more about Ogun Badagri.
He is a chief nasty, Mr. Knight. He is the spirit of war and destruction.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight. I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse, in religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
Oh, no.
Fine.
I'd really like to know more about you.
There have been several articles written about me, Mr. Knight, as well as blurbs on my book jackets. If you want a biography, read.
Your lecture was terrific.
Oh, you think so? You were snoring so loud I didn't think you'd heard it.
You must travel a lot.
Yes, to Africa mainly.
I'm very interested in voodoo myself right now.
How nice for you.
Do you know what Capri Saint-Cor means?
Capri Saint-Cor? Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, bulls, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
Okay.
What was that translation for Capri Saint-Cor again?
It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's very rare. Most voodoo practices do not include human sacrifice as a matter of record, but it is theoretically possible, if that's what the gods demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Ezuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Ezuli is the gentlest of Loa, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Houngan tremble before possession by one of the more violent Loa, such as Papa Nebo. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that Loa will simply take it for themselves.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't need to go visit the...
Okay. Aber hier gibt's auch... Ja, liebe Leute, dann würde ich sagen, machen wir hier einen Cut und jetzt gleich im Anschluss weiter damit, dass wir hier schauen wollen, wie wir weiterkommen, würde ich sagen. Jo, wenn es euch gefallen hat, lasst gerne einen Daumen hoch da. Gerne könnt ihr in den Kommentaren schreiben, wie ihr euch mit diesen Voodoo, wie es alles heißt, so auskennt. Wenn ja, würde mich mal interessieren. Und wenn ihr wollt, könnt ihr mir auch ein Abo da lassen, da würde ich mich auch sehr drüber freuen. Und damit wünsche ich euch noch einen wunderschönen Tag, lasst es euch gut gehen und bis bald.